Welcome to the Foul Out Podcast. Today we got Willie on the cam, we got Shaq, my brother Arkeem, and myself. And we was having a little conversation before we was starting, and my brother said he was finna tell a story about Ronald Reagan. So, what you got?
You sure you want to start it off like that? All right, whatever. So there was this little girl. She ran up to him and said, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. President?" Mom and Daddy Democrats. "How you doing, Mr. President?" And then she was like, "Why don't you want to help poor people?" And he said, "You know what I'll do? That poor guy that you're talking about at the at the gas station. This is what I'll do. You can come sweep my yard and clean up the brush and oil my car, and I'll give you $50. And then when I give you that $50, you go give it to that homeless man at the gas station." And she said, "Well, why doesn't he come oil your car and brush your lawn and do things around your house and just get $50 from you?" He said, "Welcome to the Republican Party."
Why doesn't he just come and do the work? Welcome to the Republican Party.
Man, that's a
Yeah,
cold line. I'm not even gonna lie. That's cold.
yeah, I heard that one before. But yeah, man, how was y'all's weekend, man? What y'all do in the past week?
Man,
Man,
that's
I've
a
been
pre-pod
life,
question.
man.
Man, look, he seemed preoccupied. I'm gonna start it off. All right. Now it's Kimbo Slice picture. All right, we're gonna start this off with the Warriors. 3-1, up 3-1, and the Lakers are down 3-1. Warriors are up 3-1 on the Houston Rockets. The Lakers are down 3-1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. How does this affect Steph Curry's legacy? How does it affect LeBron's legacy? And if LeBron were to have less rings than Steph Curry, which ain't gonna happen, but if Steph Curry won a ring this year and got 5 rings versus LeBron's 4, how in the LeBron era, how would that play out?
It's a good question. Personally, I think if Steph gets more rings than LeBron in the LeBron era, it might be the Steph era. LeBron's era might have been early 2010s, and LeBron and Steph's era might have been late 2010s, early 2020s.
But if we do that, wouldn't it make it a KD era at one point too? Because KD kind of took over the team for like the 3 years.
Well, the constant is Steph. The
Yeah,
constant is Steph.
yeah.
The only common denominator.
If
In
we
all
did
five
that, then
rings.
it would make it a lot. Because Steph has one Finals MVP. You know.
Yeah.
So
But if you go look at his stats, when Iggy won that year, Steph actually had better stats than Iggy.
Yeah, he had better stats than him, but he wasn't a more valuable player than him for sure. Iggy was the one holding LeBron. But that's enough of the past. We're talking about right now. Personally, no. All the things LeBron has done, 48,000 points. Steph doesn't have 20. When you look at the all first team defenses, first team offenses throughout, Steph just doesn't measure up. Steph is kind of just a guy who was on great teams. His Finals MVP record shows that. He had great teams. He was well put together, and one of the most dominant teams ever. And then they added KD into that. So now, when we go back and look at the highlights, Steph is the best shooter ever. There's nobody who will pick up a basketball better shooter than Steph Curry, but that's just kind of where it stops. Because if you go just look at his stats everywhere else, it just don't match up to LeBron's. And not in Finals MVPs, speaks for itself.
Greatest shooter of all time, changed the game fundamentally. With the three ball, one of the greatest
He
handlers of
did.
all time. One of the best team. one thing that's not spoken
Well,
enough
see, those
about
things are
Steph.
the only thing tangible that you just said is best shooter.
One of the best team leaders of all time. Very versatile. He made it work with KD. He made it work with Clay, Draymond. Now Jimmy Butler there. He making it work. You know, he can make any system work. You know what I'm saying? So he got a nice resume, and then 5 rings on top of that.
I think
Unanimous MVP.
And LeBron just has more clout, though, man. I think at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. LeBron James just has more clout, more name recognition, better. I won't say better brand because Steph Curry has a good brand, but like LeBron's more marketable. Just at the end of the day, more
Dude,
people around the world know him, just like they know
what
Michael Jordan.
So what are we
LeBron
discussing?
has won more playoff games than every team in the NBA.
So y'all are y'all saying that if LeBron gets beat, right, and then Steph advances and win a championship, what era is it as far?
Yeah.
Um,
Pay attention,
so
clockhead.
I do think no, you. I'm just breaking the question down to like, what has LeBron? You know, the business is right. What have you done for me lately? Who's won a championship lower lately? Steph. If he were to pull out a championship this year, I do think Anthony has a valid point, and I'm the biggest LeBron fan there is. But I mean, that COVID Disney World Championship seems eons away, right? It seems
Yeah.
so far in the past. And if LeBron were to get first round swept, gentlemen swept, or even lose, and Steph goes to the finals with this team that had all this craziness, that got Jimmy Butler at the trade deadline, I think there is some validity there, right? I mean, LeBron has the more name recognition, but it's not like it's astronomical compared to Steph. So I think it's a fair point, especially if they get beat in the first round. Like, what happened to the Lakers last year?
That's actually, I'm glad you brought up Jimmy Butler. That's the one thing that I do kind of knock Steph for is that he never wins when it's just him and another guy. He always got to have like this stack. I'm talking about a deep stack of talent. If they win this year, they went and got Jimmy Butler. The last time they won, they had Andrew Wiggins on the team. They had KD on the team. It's like, man, if it's not a stack of talent, you know what I'm saying? He just not. It's not no chance he win the chip.
I disagree with you though. That last championship in 2022 wasn't stacked. Like, they benefited by a team sucking, or I'm not even gonna take it for the team sucking, because they I think that team wasn't stacked. That team had Clay, who was fresh off of Achilles and ACL, Draymond and Steph. You had Andrew Wiggins, but he had just got traded there, and Andrew Wiggins had not been a
They had
superstar
Jalen.
by any
What's the other guy named? The young dude that they trade off that Draymond stole off of?
Oh, Jordan Poole.
Yeah, he went
That was
crazy.
about
He
as
went.
unproven as
He
a
went
Warriors
crazy.
team as you could expect.
He went
Honestly, go
crazy.
with.
He went crazy in that fight. He went crazy that year, man.
Right.
He
And they
actually
beat the
was trash
Celtics.
in the playoffs. That's why they moved him. But he
Yeah.
was good though.
And they beat the Celtics in the playoffs that year. And I think that solidified him, honestly, because like, okay, he really got one on a team that's not the best Warriors team by far. I don't even think they were a number one seed when they won. I think they were like a 3 or 4 seed when they won. And then if he does it with this team, it's like, oh, I double down. Like, oh, he really got it figured out, because who the second best player? Jimmy? And he just got there after not playing the whole damn year, essentially.
Dude.
So he got an argument. If they win it this year, he got an argument, a very strong argument, especially if LeBron and them get beat in the first round to the Timberwolves with Luka Doncic. I mean,
Well,
and,
see,
and,
the
and
thing is, they don't. It's like, yeah, he got Luca, but who else? It's like it's
I mean,
not.
he got Austin Reeves. You know what's crazy, bro? Austin Reeves is averaging
Also,
like
he's
21 points a
cold,
game
man.
this year.
He's cold.
If you think of the name Austin Reeves, you like. But if you look at his stats, bro, pull it up for me, Anthony. I think Buddy's averaging 21 points a game. So you
But
got
dude,
Luka averaging
he
27,
can't.
LeBron
Didn't
averaging 24 and Austin Reeves averaging 21.
didn't he bust 41 game?
Let's see.
He all right, but
This year,
dude,
yeah,
he
20
all right,
plus.
but that team is not a fully well equipped team. I'm not really making excuses, but that's just what it is. Like you say, man, y'all had Austin Reeves. Like, he good. Don't get me wrong, he good. And I'm not really slamming him because he a Laker. I'm a Laker fan. But man, come on, y'all.
But again,
The
too, now
Mavericks won a
they
championship with
they are the 3
underrated
seed
people.
losing 3-1 to the 6 seed.
But you know
And
this.
Anthony is a numbers guy. So if you got the 3 seed losing to the 6 seed
Dude,
3-1,
but they were like 2 games apart.
I'm not gonna lie, you make a good point there.
Dude, they were
bro.
All these teams were like 2 games apart. The Lakers could have well just been the 8th seed too if they just would have lost one more game. Were y'all paying attention?
bruh, I'm just saying the Lakers.
If they lost one game, their last game, they would have been dropped all the way to the 7th seed. But they won. Go look it up.
The NBA standings are.
But the Timberwolves, they weren't looked at as like a team that like was gonna topple the Lakers. Like not at the beginning of this series, they weren't.
They caught
It's
them,
kind of
but
like
at the same
It's kind
time,
of like AE.
Luka has
the
no
team is
defense.
coming alive.
Luka don't have no defense, bro. We all know that. Luka ain't got no defense. Austin Reeves ain't got no defense. We too easy to score on. You know, we trying to outshoot people. Luka's very ball dominant. We not a shoe in to win. Like if we did win, it'll be crazy.
You telling me you felt all these same way when they made the trade?
Yeah, because we traded away AD. We traded away our defense. If we kept AD, that'd been a different story.
Bro,
He playing defense on the bench.
10 years from now, when you look back and say, yeah, Anthony Edwards, Dante DiVincenzo, Jaden McDaniel, and Julius Randle beat LeBron and Luka. That's gonna sound a little crazy.
Hey, look, Penny Hardaway beat Michael Jordan. I mean, look at the people who smoked Michael. Michael Jordan was getting smoked like hell when he was 40 years old, came back in there and played. Like, it's father time is taking its toll. Like, I was watching the game. That's not the same guy I was watching in 2016, dropping 40 against the Warriors. You remember they couldn't stop him. It was KD. It was the great Warriors. They just couldn't stop him. Remember?
Let's get
and then
into
J.R.
that.
Smith messed up the whole game. But that's not that same dude out there, man.
Where does LeBron lack now? Because if you look at his stat line, you know, you can see the points has come down, but everything else, he pretty much up there. What is he missing now?
It's the lockdown defense. He don't do the chase down no more. You know, it's not the same guy out there that it was, and that's for doggone sure.
The better question is LeBron with the current stat line, like Anthony said, and in the current state, should he be doing better than 1 to 3 versus this Minnesota Timberwolves team?
They gonna win tonight, and then they'll win. It's going to Game 7. And let's not forget, you know, this is, you know, it sound good. So y'all looking at the now. We got to make the decision when they get beat. So you can't say, well, you remember they had them down 3-1, but it went to 7 games. Like, bro, come on. Like, and then, like, LeBron just coming off an injury. Remember, he was injured. Yeah, like at game 79, he got injured and he didn't play. You got to remember that too. So, I don't know if it's the injury or I don't know if it's just a different guy, but this ain't the same dude. And
wasn't Luka sick last game?
Luka was injured all year.
He was.
See, that's the stuff.
But he was actually sick though in his last game though, and they called it out.
I don't get with that, man.
Luka had 38 last game?
Wait, what you don't get with that?
He didn't get sick until the end of the game, and they lost.
He had 38. He was the leading scorer.
Was it the game before that? Then
nobody mentioned sickness until after they lost.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Well, look,
I could have sworn.
I do want to say that I did hear that he was sick too, but I'm saying it's like in boxing, man. Whenever the boxer loses, they always say, Well, he had an
He
injury.
fought
We just didn't
injured.
tell y'all about it. But one thing I will say, I want to say this about LeBron. He still has the same stats, but it kind of feels like he's cutting corners in places the stats aren't measured. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mm-hmm.
like he don't have like if dominant presence was a stat, he's come down quite a bit. You know what I'm saying on that stat. Um, if just like playing the full 48 minutes, like full fledged, all energy, no plays off, he come down in that stat quite a bit. You know what I'm saying? But LeBron, he can go get 25, 30 every night, especially with these lax defenses in the current NBA. You know what I'm saying? So and that's always something I've been a big proponent on is like a lot of stats aren't measured. You can't like you don't measure difficulty of shot. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my biggest arguments as to why Kobe the greatest of all time. Because a lot of stats aren't measured. And that's where a lot of people really rise and fall. Um, but yeah,
Hmm. 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 So your verdict is Steph Curry is gonna be the Steph Curry era, not the LeBron era.
Oh no, I mean he got to win this
nah,
chip.
nah.
If he win,
In all honesty, I was just making the argument. But man,
nah,
to me, it's nothing Steph can do to take LeBron's era, man.
nah. I mean, honestly, I do think LeBron's era is that 2000s. I mean, if you break it down, right, he won. How many championships does Bron have?
Four.
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 Or
All right, he won three of those four between 2010 and 2020, essentially, right?
yeah, it
Yeah.
was 12, 13, 16, 20.
Right. And so Steph won. I mean, I think if you look at this decade, right, if Steph were to win two championships this decade, and nobody else has won two this decade, it would be his decade, essentially,
The
right?
2020s, you saying?
Right, because nobody else has won two. It's a carousel right now, right? It's been four different champions since 2020. If he were to get two in this era, then you would say, okay, Steph is making a claim. Steph, we ain't talking about the KDs and all that, because that was 2017, 2017, 2016,
Mm-hmm.
all that. We're talking about the Steph Curry. If he gets his fifth championship, two of those I would say were without help, or like with him being the main player, right? 2022, and then this one, I think it's fair. I don't think it's a knock at LeBron. It just shows you really how great Steph is if he were to pull that off.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. LeBron owned the 2010s, maybe Steph with longevity could own the 2020s. But let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Um, we had a little flash pod on this subject, but now a bit more information has come out about Shedeur
A,
Sanders.
a flash pod that was as long as a regular pod.
Yeah, yeah. Had a flash pod about Shedeur Sanders. He went from being like, lottery pick level player to 144th pick. And reports came out that like, a lot of owners said take him off the draft board. He's entitled, he's cocky. And then you got that interview clip that's going all around the world where Deion Sanders was saying they not gonna let him go to a bad team. You know what I'm saying? I just I won't let him go.
Well, he
So
said
my
he's doing
question,
Eli Manning. Do you know what that means?
no,
You know,
what does that
Eli
mean?
actually got drafted to the Chargers, and then
Hmm.
they said, "Hey yo, we don't want to play here," so they traded Phillip Rivers for Eli to the Giants. So that's why
Oh,
everybody
okay.
is comparing the
Hmm.
same thing. He said, "Yo, I don't want to play here."
Hmm. Yeah, cause
Hmm.
cause see, this is what I was thinking, right? If you look at the Browns, right, that was probably one of the teams Dion was talking about. When he said that.
100%.
He said it in a
But
tweet. He said in like 2018, "If my son get drafted to the Browns, I'd have to pull a Eli Manning."
Yep.
yeah, and see, that's what I'm saying. See, when they blackballed him and said nobody touch him for the first X rounds.
Mm.
They humbled him so that Dion and Shedeur was just like, man, I'm happy to go anywhere at this point.
It's called buck breaking. Really know about buck
Mm.
breaking. That's when they want to just try to crush you. But they got him. I mean, they costed him $30-40 million.
Mm-hmm.
They showed him, you know. So they won. They won the first round. All I can say is don't let them win the second round.
Yeah.
Because they knocked
Because
they knocked
he made
his ass
more.
out first round.
He made more from his NIL deals than he gonna make from his salary. But anyway, the main question I wanted to ask y'all is this right? Like, if a player comes in, entitled and cocky and this and that, is it okay for a GM or a team owner to say, yeah, I don't really want that guy on my team. Pick somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do it all the
It's
time.
their money.
Yeah. I mean, you own it. Like us owning a trucking company, we say, you know what? I don't like that guy. I don't want him to drive my truck. That's not wrong. I don't like him. I don't like his attitude. I don't like his swagger. You have the right to do that. But you are not above criticism if other people watching you hire drivers or watching you hire whoever, and they see you hire other people who got this exact same attitude, and you choose this guy to lash your sword out at. So that's what's going on here. I mean, people don't like cocky people. They don't. And, I know a lot about that. They don't like cocky people. Make them feel insecure.
The issue is, too, for him is that just looking back on it, the whole pre-draft process, and I do think, Deion Sanders, he has to take blame for this, whether he wants to admit it or not. And that kind of goes into that, selfish or whatever delusion or whatever you want to call it. But some of the pre-draft stuff was just different, right? Like, we only go on to certain teams, only going to talk to certain teams, or like not participating in the combine at all. Like, not saying I'm going to run a 40 and all that. I'm not going to say that he is at fault for this, all of this. No, but he put himself in a situation to be scrutinized, like Arkeem was saying. He put himself in a situation for somebody to say, so you think he was that good that you ain't even got to participate in the combine? Like, we could have gave that spot to somebody who's actually going to do something, right? Or you're not going to do the Senior Bowl? He didn't do the Senior Bowl either, or none of the Senior Bowl workouts. Where Cam Ward, not saying that Cam Ward is a better person or anything, but Cam Ward, even though he was projected to be a top 10 pick, he did the little things, right? He showed up. He did the stuff just to say, I did it. And I think when they already assume that you're a certain way, and then you kind of come in and validate their assumptions, that leaves you open for what happened to him in this draft.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, and then another thing you got to understand, the bigger the talent, the bigger the tolerance. That's everywhere. I don't think that he good. He's a great player, but he's not good enough to justify how he acts to them. But to me, something like that wouldn't bother me. Is he getting in the way of production? That's what would really get on my nerves. It wouldn't necessarily just be about, oh, I don't like his attitude. He think he too much. That you sound like a woman. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But hey, look, these guys, you gotta think about these ain't robots drafting these guys. These are humans, and they feel certain emotions. And he coming in saying stuff like, hey man, whoever draft me, you better be ready to change up your whole franchise, because it's like, hey bro.
For a team that, because then, the argument is, to piggyback off you, one, Colorado, in any of his years, they weren't that spectacular, right?
Nah. They didn't make the playoffs.
They didn't make the playoffs. And then somebody else could come in Validated or not, I think it's not validated. But in this situation, like you said, if I can stick you on something, I'm gonna stick you on. They can say, dude, if I had Travis, my stats would look that good too, right? Everywhere you go, you've had Travis, and Travis was the one that won the Heisman. He the one that went number 2 overall. So is that more saying about Travis or you?
Yeah, I mean because and that would never cross their mind if they liked him. So
Well,
favor and being liked
Hmm.
is very powerful. Gaining the favor of people can make people look over a lot of things.
100%.
Yeah.
one thing I will say is it's almost like a cyclical thing, in the way that perception is shaped. And what I mean by that is somebody like Cam Ward, right? He at the top of the charts on this best draft pick, but it, like you say, tolerance and talent have a correlation. But if you got the talent but you don't act like that, it makes people adore you. You know what I'm saying? If you really are the best, you really are this and that, you could act like that, but you don't. That makes people love you. And I just want to play this little clip for y'all. And I want to
Humility.
show y'all the effect that, um, that perception can have on you. Like when a person is like that.
Forever. Does that matter? Do you want that?
Uh, I don't want it in a sense because I think it disrespects Will Chamberlain, Jerry West, all the guys that prior to me, I never had a chance to play against. What everybody's saying I am, I never had the chance to compete against other legends that was prior to me. When I hear it, I cringe a little bit because, it's a little bit embarrassing because no one knows, I never had the chance to once again to play against those guys. I would love to have played against them, but I never did, and for you to say that I'm better than him, I mean, it's your opinion. It's their opinion. I accept that as their opinion. If you ask me, I would never say that I'm the greatest player. And
Humility.
Yeah. And you see the effect that that has on you. Like when I saw that video for the first time, I was like, man, it really made me feel like he was the GOAT. You know, it's just that's the effect it has on you because he really is somebody that people would say is the greatest ever. But the fact that he didn't just say, yeah, I am, you know.
Yeah.
I tweeted that one time. Self promotion actually has a way of reducing you.
Oh yeah, you don't have to tell everybody how good you are if you are good. Everyone can
Yeah.
see it. Like, you don't have to. And I don't have a lot to say on this topic because y'all know I'm not a huge sports guy, but like when I think about this from a perspective of just normal life, because like we said, these are regular people. But when I think about this from perspective of like normal life, people, if I'm hiring for a position or something and I interview two people for the position. One guy is like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that, the company is doing well. Whatever you need me to do, hey, I'm gonna get it done." Right? I'm gonna respect that. I'm be like, bet. The next person that they come in and they seem like I don't really need a job. Like I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. Like, I know I'm gonna be the best, especially if you tell me that like, hey, like when I come in, I'm gonna make sure I tell everybody else on the staff that like I'm the best, and like if you don't want to go, you don't want to roll the way I want to roll, then you might as well pack your bags and leave. Like if that is the mentality, and I was able to pick that up from you across from the table from an interview, I'm not hiring you either. You're gonna be bottom of my list. So I think, especially with him having his dad also doing the, kind of feeding into that same archetype, feeding that same archetype for him. I mean, yeah, I completely understand why they did what they did. I mean, is it wrong? I don't know. I think some people are a lot of people are making it like a race thing, and I can see that argument too. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to have somebody on like working for me that I know is going to be a headache for me. So, anyways, that's all I got to say about it. But
Yeah, you
Gotcha.
can't forget that, this is their league. Sometimes,
exactly.
sometime, people's head gets so inflated that they forget what's going on. They forget that at the end of the day, I'm not entitled to this position. I have a
Hmm.
boss. Yeah, I have a boss.
Yep.
And a lot of this is just hot air. You got to remember that. I answer to somebody. Everybody answer to somebody. And if you ever forget, that's in the 48 laws of power. Hey, man, a lot of people think that gifts, they take them for granted. They forget that they were gifts, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah. And they just get so entitled and then just end up self-destructing. And I feel like a little bit that's what happened here. But I mean, Shedeur,
Hmm.
you got a long time in this league, 15, 20 years maybe. Come on, man. You know, 15, maybe
Hmm.
20 years, you can clean this, up. You can clean the rest of that money up with endorsements. But they did cut his legs from up under him. That $40 million missing. Yikes.
Yeah. And then, with his jersey sales, he'll make up some extra bread too there.
Oh, they get
But
money off that? They get
yeah, they get paid for that. But yeah, let's do a little palate cleanser topic before we get into some do a little fun topic, man.
you've been seeing this on
100
social media,
men.
Shaq.
Yeah, I've been seeing
Yeah, it's
this.
all over social media. 100 men versus one gorilla, man. Who y'all taking?
Willie, go ahead
A
first.
100 men versus one group. Uh, so
Come on, man.
it's a 100 men versus one gorilla. You would think the 100 men would win. That's what I would take. Like, like again, if you
Yeah.
take 100 of just in shape men, right? Yeah, because at the end of the day, dude, like a gorilla's not that much bigger than a human. They're
What? Yeah,
much.
you crazy now.
I don't know about that one though.
No, no,
They
no, no, no.
definitely
Like, like,
bigger.
like, like, like I'm saying to scale, right? A gorilla's not 8 foot tall.
Guess he is.
Google the size of a gorilla.
Shaq, you give us your information.
How tall is a gorilla?
Very gorilla.
It's 5'7". So if you take a gorilla, that's what I'm
Wait, which
saying.
one did you
Gorilla,
look up?
Wait,
The
standing straight
silverback?
up? Nah, it ain't no five. That don't
bro, it
sound right.
says 5'7". Like Google it. Then I googled it. Y'all Google.
5'5". Yeah.
And it says they weigh between 220 and 600 pounds. So let's say the average male that you're talking about is 220 pounds. And now you multiply that times 100 by
Yeah, but
sheer numbers. I don't think I realized what 100
Well, it say
people,
it just depends because if you're
but you're
talking
not
about
sitting on them though.
a
huh?
silverback standing on his hind legs can be 7 feet tall. I mean,
Even if,
can be 6 feet tall. It just
well,
depends
Yeah,
what you're
I'm
talking
seeing
about.
6.6 feet
even if it's
tall.
standing on his
Yes,
hind
yeah, we
legs,
talking about standing straight up. Yeah,
but even then they don't fight straight up. So what I'm saying is you got one gorilla against 100 men. I just think that's a lot, even for a gorilla. That's a lot for it to contend with. Because if they just jump on him, 100 men, it's just not. I mean, of course, he's going to do damage to some, but if they all come in and attack, that's just too much. I think for one gorilla.
All right, let me tell you why I think the gorilla still stands a chance. It's for one capacity. How many men can really get on the gorilla at one time? Let's call it
exactly.
6 to 10. And when those 10 dudes are on the gorilla, what can they really do to him, man? We got hands and feet. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? How can we really harm him? Like punching him probably won't do much. Kicking him won't do much. And if he slammed, because he could kill 10, like 1 versus 10. I think the gorilla wins. So
Right.
it's
We
like
talking 100.
when, yeah, I'm saying he do it what 5, 6 times.
But even a gorilla, like it's not like they're like indestructible. If he's getting hit
He
in
won't feel
waves,
it
like,
though.
what I'm saying is
He
it's
won't
death of
feel it.
it's death of a it's,
He's
it's
too
death of a
thick.
thousand
He's
it's
too
death of a
thick.
thousand cuts, right? So if you like the gorilla's not gonna sit there and go, "Ugh." He's not gonna sit there and go like, and then now you expect it like
See, that's the
bro.
part. That's the part I don't know. Like I feel like he could take a punch from a human and like 10 punches from a human
But
and
A
not
I'm
be
human.
Oh,
hurt.
and
they
that's why
definitely could.
I'm
Dude,
specifying.
I
I'm not
looked it
just
up. It
talking
said
about
a
no.
gorilla's skull is so much thicker than a human's. Then the skin is thicker than a human's too around the skull. So a
Understand that.
jab punch won't even.
But let's say, okay, so let's say this then. Let's say they get around his neck and they put him in a Nelson and they restrict his breathing. Now that thick skin and skull don't really
Get
hit.
off
Matter
me.
of fact, it could be
But
used against you at that point.
I'm
But
gonna
they
say
ain't
this
really
though:
got a
if
neck,
you
man.
if you get a human in a Nelson,
They're like,
what restricts him is the strength, right? He's
Right.
not strong enough to get you off him. Man, that gorilla, if you had 3 or 4 dudes holding his neck, he would
He
just
can
get
get
up and
you off.
sling him off
He's
him.
strong. But I think that this is what I think. Me personally, just strictly off the endurance, I think the humans could get him.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot to contend with. You're
Now,
gonna need a break at some
a
point
lot of y'all gonna be dead.
or hurt.
A lot of y'all ain't coming back.
yeah.
And it depends on what kind of man. It can't be a man, somebody like get punched in the nose. Oh, that ain't my nose. Hell
No, it
no.
has to be
It can't
fair.
be them kind
I
of
think if
dudes.
you got
You
a
got to be
aggressive
able to
gorilla,
still
you got to
fight.
have aggressive men for it to make sense. You can
Okay, you could be aggressive, but some dudes are strong.
no. That's what I'm saying. They have to
Some
fit the
dudes
profile,
strong,
right?
but the men are gonna have to be able to fight.
They're gonna
Hurt.
have to fit the profile.
They're gonna have to be able to fight hurt. You can't get no pretty boys in there. They're gonna die. You
Let's say
got to
you
be able to
got.
fight
Let's
with your
say you
eye
got.
poked out.
Let's say you got this. How about this? Let's just bring it into what it would probably be if we were trying to make this fair for the men and for the gorilla. If you're gonna get a 200, 600 pound gorilla, you got to have an equal, opposite man. So let's say you got 100 UFC heavyweight fighters to fight a gorilla. I think that's fair
Why is that fair?
because
But okay, let me ask you this: since we putting the parameters down, are we talking about a real world scenario? And what I mean by real world is those first 10, 20 dudes gonna get killed.
Yeah.
So
I
like in
don't
real
think
life, the dudes that's on the third wave of 10, they gonna be like they gonna get scared.
I don't think they
the
get
game
in.
is gonna be the endurance. That's what
It
gonna
is,
be.
and I don't think
The
it's just
game
gonna
gonna
be
be the
getting
endurance.
killed. Like it's not gonna be like it's not like a gorilla's a bomb, right? They're not
Yeah.
gonna get eviscerated in one hit. He's gonna have
Dude,
to
yes, he
work to
will.
kill them, bro. That's not. Have y'all ever seen a gorilla? They are huge, but they aren't so astronomical. That's like, oh, and if he flicked his hand, I'm dead. It's gonna
Bro,
have to fight.
one
Them things
punch,
fight
gorillas.
jaguars.
Gorillas can lift 4,000
Dude,
pounds.
if that gorilla, if he grabs somebody right here or something right there, man, just grabbing them. Man. I don't think you
But
gonna.
see
That's what I think is a part of making it fair for the gorilla, because we all know, like, you know what I'm saying, when you think about an animal like a gorilla, he's not swinging fists like a human. You know what I'm saying? So in the scenario, I feel like to make it fair for the gorilla, you have to humanize him too, thinking that he will be punching and kicking and, like, you know what I'm saying, doing human like moves.
If you train this gorilla, because like gorilla,
no,
you
we're
can
not gonna have a
train.
trained gorilla.
If you
Look,
train the gorilla to be like you know what I'm saying, like, hey, look,
No.
you can teach them sign language, you can teach them to do push-ups, you can teach them to do a bunch. If you
No,
train
we're
him to
keeping
be
it-
able to fight, I don't think the 100 men can win. But
We-
just
we-
a gorilla
look.
out there in the woods, I mean, like
That's how it's gonna
they can
be.
get
It's
him.
gonna be a
they
gorilla.
can get him.
He's not fighting Gorilla Grok. He's not fighting a gorilla with the brain of a genius. We're
Yeah.
fighting.
Well,
he's
you
just
gave humans UFC fighters, so we
Yeah,
gotta
that's
give
what I'm
No,
saying.
but this,
gorillas
no.
some.
Hear me out. This is why I
You
said
gave some.
humans. This is why I said humans get UFC fighters. Humans naturally are different because of what we do, right? Some of us are sedentary. Some of us work out. Gorillas in the wild, bro, they all do the same thing. If you took the profile of 300 male gorillas in the wild, they're gonna damn near look the same. Big, bulky, strong. Because what do? They all swing. They all have to hunt to get their food. You took the profile of 100 regular dudes, it's gonna be such a spread.
No, the average man is 5'9" and weighs 199 pounds.
Okay, then. So take the average gorilla.
With a 40-inch waist.
Okay, then. So if you're going to take the average man for this,
that's a fat boy.
Then you must take the average gorilla. So, you know how I said 220 to 600 pounds? You just take what a normal, regular, nothing special gorilla against 100 regular, nothing special men. I'm still picking 100 men, one, for two reasons. The numbers, 100 people is a lot.
The average man is 5'9", 200 pounds with a 40-inch waist. You think the average man can beat him?
It's not the average man though. It's 100 of the average men. Then I think the average man is smarter than a gorilla. Gorillas ain't known for their intellect. So
yes, they are. This dude Willie don't know.
But what are they?
Are you insane?
But how are they going to outsmart them though, Willie? Like
it's a fight.
How are they going to outsmart?
Because the same way you answer your question, Shaq. The same way the zookeepers do at the zoo, right? You know how the zookeepers. You know how the zookeepers lure the animals in, and you're like, that dumb animal, he going in there, and that zookeeper's clearly tricking them, right? And they're not really. I mean, it's just the nature of it. Because in the nature, again, I can be biblical, but man is smarter than gorilla, right? Yeah. Naturally, like naturally, you're just smarter than them, right? So even dogs are smart, but I'm smarter than a dog.
I'm interested to know how many men do you think it would take to get him down to?
I think 100. Well, one thing I think.
No, out of the 100, how many men do you think it would take to knock him off?
To get him down on the ground?
No, knocked out of here. Boom, 86.
Oh, it's probably gonna. I mean, it's probably gonna clear at least 50. I would think. If we're talking just regular Joes, 50 at least. But that's the thing, dude. Even if Anthony said, even if it's 10 or 20, even if it's 10 men on him, that's. If you take a regular 200-something pound man, that's 2,000 pounds on him.
I gotta ask you. So 50 men laid out. You 51.
Are you gonna go?
What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
But I don't. If you put it in a vacuum, 100. Yeah, I think the 100 men will win. But I'm talking about real world. You see 50 dudes laid out, bro. Fear is gonna come into play.
100%. But I will say this. That gorilla is not going to be operating at what he was when it was 100 versus 1.
Fatigue going to play into it.
Because what if he 50 men? What if he 50 men later, 50 on the ground, but the gorilla laid out like this on the ground? And we got 50 more. It's time though.
Hey, yeah. I don't care how hard he was breathing. I don't know if I'm.
I'm gonna give you 50 men versus gorilla, and you got fatigue playing into it. I'm gonna say it's gonna be 70 dead men. It's gonna be 20 injured men, and then them last 10 are gonna have to be the one to finish the job, and they gonna be dirty. You know, I think they can get him. Now, is this Kurjek? No. We talking about
a regular gorilla, a regular degler. 5'6", 5'7" gorilla.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about UFC fighters and all that, he gonna tear a lot of people down. But at the end of the day, I think the humans can get him because fatigue gonna play.
It's a numbers game. 100, yeah, that's a lot.
If you said 25 men versus a gorilla,
well, that'd be tough.
All right. I don't want to spend forever on this topic, but bro, what are the 100 men like? How do they finish him off? They just hitting him like this, and then eventually
you just beat the shit out of him.
I don't know if that'll work, bro.
I don't know if that'll
work.
He
gonna do it soon.
That'll work
because
you have to get vital organs.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, when he feel that pressure, he gonna fall. Bro.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, bro, if he's tired, he's not even gonna have the will to move. And I don't care. Like Rakeem said, if you just sitting there getting waylaid by 50 people, you're gonna be dead.
Bro. Hey, what he do when you hit him in the face? He fell back because he a sucker.
Yeah. I don't know, bro.
Dude, because there ain't an animal on this earth who won't feel a grown man punching him in the face.
Yeah,
he gonna feel it.
You gonna feel it.
Now he probably ain't gonna feel it like somebody else feel it, but he gonna feel it.
But if he been feeling it for let's say in them first 50 men he take out, it took an hour. If he just been getting wailed on for an hour and having to swing folks off of him, because not everybody gonna be getting one hit kills, right? Because he gotta also protect himself. He can't be so busy gnawing on you. He's taking 100 shots to the head the whole time. It's gonna add up. Them boys gonna be kicking. They're gonna be kneeing him in the head.
You ever see in the cartoons where everybody jump on one dude and he's like, ah, like that, and everybody fall?
Man,
at some point, bro, he gonna have to
he pulling this dude's arm out of his socket, knocking these two dudes' head.
But he
gonna make easy work out about 30 of them.
But he getting hit through all of that, and at some point, like Akeem said, he gonna be like, let me get some water, let me get a break, let me get up out of here.
Hey, look. After I see him knock out by 30, I'm gonna say, I don't want to party no more. I don't want to party no more. Oh man,
because the thing is too, he ain't picking up no weapons, right? But if one of them boys grab a rock or a stick,
no rocks, straight hands. See, if you put that into it, yeah, the humans gonna win. No rocks, bro.
But that's how it's gonna be in the wild, bro. Gorillas don't fight with rocks to begin with. He wouldn't even think to pick up a rock. But humans,
100 humans ain't traveling together anyway.
What I'm saying is,
it's an experiment.
I know it's an experiment. What I'm saying is, even if it's an experiment and they meet up in the wild, gorillas naturally fight with their hands and nothing else. When you ever seen a gorilla pick up a bat? Humans pick up, that homeless dude picked up a bat the other day. So we know what we gonna do. If I see that rock, you think I'm gonna hurt my hand? I'm gonna grab that rock and go upside his head. Then it's really gonna be on like Donkey Kong when I start rapping him in the head with that rock.
Look, check this out, man. Me and you gonna try it on a chimpanzee.
No, because while you was Tom Cruise, I would be Bobby with the two. I'm gonna show you how my hands work.
What's the next one?
Okay,
also,
man.
too, a chimpanzee would be the worst one. They got the most pound strength for their size ever. They'll rip your face off.
I thought it was an orangutan.
Oh, orangutan, yeah.
I think we could take an orangutan. 100 people are telling.
Yeah, they pretty small. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But, okay, man. Trump's first 100 days, approval rating drops to 39%, and it was 45% in February. So, man, what do y'all think about Trump's first 100 days? Pros, cons? What y'all think?
As far as his first 100 days, they're saying it's like the worst approval rating ever. Me personally, I haven't been affected by any of Trump's shenanigans, and personally, I don't know if it's the worst. You know, I think people just kind of hate who's in power. After a while, it seems like they love you, then it kind of like they just kind of turn on you. I don't know if he's doing that terrible of a job. The stock market has crashed, and groceries are high. And, hey, maybe this nigga is missing. Yeah, maybe he did, but he said it's gonna get worse before it get better. I mean, I'm not no Trump hater. I feel like, hey, look, you ever seen the movie 42? When Jackie Robinson, they said, he's coming and he's going to take all your job. And that dude said, well, if he's man enough to take it, I think he deserves it. I mean, that's how I feel about Trump. Like, hey, bro, he could get y'all he won. Then he won. I mean, hey, you know, and we just got to stick with it out. But personally, I think Trump has won, and I think that he said this is a part of a plan, and all I can do at this point is just hope he's not lying. Hey, look, I see all this tariff stuff, this China stuff, India finna fight. All I can do is just hope he ain't lying. Because that's what I said with COVID. Remember, he said, we're going to get this thing back running by Christmas. And that's what I told my mama. I said, all I can do is hope he ain't lying. We was in the house all the way to August.
How that song go? Why you lying? Why you always lying? Ooh, oh my God. Stop
Yeah,
lying.
yeah. At this point, that's all you can do is just hope he ain't lying.
Bro, remember when he said, you talk about lying, remember when he said, and I hate to bring this up because it's so messed up. He said, hey, we don't know where he at, talking about the Abrigio Garcia guy, and we don't know how to get him back. And then the Supreme Court ordered him back, and he said, hey, and then he was like, I don't know what to do. And then yesterday he was like, you know what? I got the power to bring him back. I just ain't gonna do it. And then, like, what? And then that lady, he showed the MS-13, and she's like, "Oh, that's that was Photoshop." He was like,
No, it wasn't.
"Photoshop? What?" Oh my God! Yeah, I don't
Shaq, what
know.
you think about Trump's first 100 days, bro?
I think we're getting what we asked for. At the end of the day, that's what we're getting. Like our king said, I mean, we chose to let him run. Now we just gotta sleep. We gotta sleep in our bed that we made, man. I don't think that he's doing a good job. I agree with the disapproval ratings because I also think that yeah, not only the stock market matters, not only the price of things matter, the whole world doesn't look up to us anymore, and that's like our bread and butter. That's what makes us special. The whole entire world loves the U.S. He went to the Pope's funeral and no one applauded him when he walked in. Have y'all seen that video? Like he walked in, it was dead silent. But President of Ukraine walked in, Zelensky walked in, and then the whole entire place erupted. That right there is what the US is supposed to be getting, but we're not getting that right now because nobody likes us, man. Nobody wants to deal with us. So I think we're in a very bad situation. But hopefully, like Arkeem said, he ain't lying about what's going to happen. Hopefully, things are going to get better, but I don't foresee it. I don't foresee it at all. I don't know what the
No,
next 4 years gonna look like.
it's crazy that you mentioned that too, Shaq, because it seemed like everybody got beef. Like I was telling the other day about Pakistan and India with that terrorist attack in Kashmir, and now they talking about India was talking about de-escalating their relationship with Pakistan so they can justify doing military response or what happened. And so now if you got Pakistan and India, you got China and Taiwan, who's just been in an endless beef that really hadn't, you got North Korea, South Korea, and now you got Ukraine, and Ukraine and Russia's like the big tabloid one. It's like,
Mm.
what's going on? Like, is this? Yeah, I don't know, man. It's not great. Bad,
I'm
bad, bad.
worried. I'm worried about the axis of power shifting, man. I mean, I know we all probably heard Ray Dalio's, his whole theory and everything, but like even outside of that, man, like we've always operated, or at least for the last like 100 years, we've had this axis of power that was us with the EU, and then the other miscellaneous countries, but. Um, Yeah, that's kind of changing, man, and I don't know who our allies are are now. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be wild take, but like I would not be surprised if we try to get sold on the idea of accepting countries like Russia to be our allies. I would not be surprised by that at all because why not? He wants to run things in a way that like no one can tell him what to do. Who does that? Russia. Who has one of the strongest militaries in the world, just like us? Russia.
I'm
China
I'm
maybe
a
second.
I'm gonna play a little bit of the other side just because there's been so many points against Trump. There's a lot of things I don't like that he's doing, but I will tell you ideologically one thing that I do like is the fact that he's outside of the system. You know what I'm saying? It's a very small chance, but I do believe there is a chance that since he's broken again away from the status quo, like America status quo, like you said, Ray Dalio and the changing world order, if we continue on the status quo, it's over with for us. You know what I'm saying? There has to be some type of break in the system. So Trump, he provides that break. So the
Mm,
relationships between the United States and Europe, it was always buddy buddy. We'll take care of y'all. Y'all don't have to spend any money on y'all's military because y'all got us. But see, when Trump got in office and said, "Nah, y'all finna have to start paying y'all fair share," all the articles come out about, "Oh, Trump is breaking relations with Europe." But what did Germany say? "Oh, we finna have to update our military and start spending more." France came out, "Oh yeah, we finna start spending more on our military because Trump acting like this." And you know what I started thinking? Like, man, they trying to make it seem like this is bad, but y'all need to be strong anyway. You know? Like, what are you a military ally for if you just say, we're not gonna spend no money on military. The United States spends more than the next 5 countries. But you barely an ally then, you know?
You're
So
supposed to
that's what
have
I
my
mean.
back and you can't
mm.
even fight.
Exactly,
I can
man.
see that argument.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like it's this little anti-system um argument, or I guess idea that I have about Trump. Is like he's bringing in RFK. No Democrat would have brought in RFK. You know what I'm saying? We're about to have, like, PepsiCo announced that they're going to remove artificial ingredients from their products. Man, if RFK wasn't in there and he was changing the way the FDA was going with things, that never would have happened. They about to move artificial dyes, petroleum based dyes. That never would have happened. So it a little bit of that, man. I'm just not a part of this lifetime political stuff. I'm just coming in here trying to get XYZ done. A little bit of that
Mm.
can be good, I think. Now, Trump's attitude and stuff like that is one way to look at it. But another way to look at it, everybody talking down on tariffs, but they say we done already made over $100 billion off of tariffs, man. You know,
Wait, who said that?
Who made the billions of dollars?
the United States.
Yeah, but
Let me look it up.
like the companies. Like the United States made the hundred billions of dollars, right? But like, I think the argument though is like that $100 billion is going to be a pass through cost for the consumers, though. I think that's the argument. Like, it's nice, but like most people are feeling it. I know Arkeem said that he didn't feel it, and Anthony, you and me, we're probably not. We're not suffering. We're not being like, we can't pay for our groceries today because of tariffs. But like, for some people, they are feeling that though. So yeah, it's good. We made $100 billion, but like, it's not like we made $100 billion.
Well, if the United States doesn't figure out a way to make more money, the amount of money we make won't even matter anymore. The Department of Commerce needs some money, bro, because the trajectory we going on is bankruptcy. So
True.
anyway, I'm not a Trumpy. I don't want to make it seem like I'm on Trump's side. I'm just giving y'all the alternative thought that I have in the back of my mind sometimes is I can see how that anti-political, anti-lifetime politician stuff might work. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see. It's a very high chance it could end in disaster, but that is the, I guess, silver lining in the cloud.
I see that. No, I see I get your point, man. It just feels like there's just gonna be a lot of disarray, man. That's like we're not gonna be able to repair it, or it's gonna take years to repair what they were able to undo in a matter of 4 months. Like
And the
that's the
last
part.
thing,
A
the
hundred
last
billion
thing I'll
dollars
say,
is just a drop in the pan. Go ahead.
the last thing I'll say too is another thing you got to give. Trump's administration credit for is we starting to focus on the right things again. Finances, health, um, education, things like that. Like, why are so many kids getting autism? Stuff like that is just I've never heard. Like Democrats, they just don't talk about money, man. They don't want to talk about finance, and that's like the only thing. That's like the only like, bro. I follow Cory Booker, and I forget it was some major financial event happened, and they're on there talking about feelings and stuff. It's like, man, I don't know. But I did see that there is hope for the Democratic Party. There's this new era that's being ushered in called democratic populism, where they starting to focus on raising the minimum wage, getting people jobs, all the important things again, rather than identity politics.
I don't know if that's new though, Anthony. Like eh,
It's
that's
probably
that's
not new, but
been
it's
out
just
there.
a resurgence. It probably, yeah. So yeah, the
Because
Democratic Party
Bernie Sanders.
used to be the working man. The working man's party.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Let
I
me get
mean,
y'all this
I
guy's name.
do
I
you
saw
not?
this chart. I'm thinking about running for office, so I can't say everything I want. But I saw this chart, and it was just saying like the men and the way they vote, and like for black men, every state was blue. Chinese or Asian men, it was mixed. White men, it was kind of mixed, but everything was blue for black men. Everybody was a Democrat.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's an inaccurate depiction?
No, I think it's right, but I just was thinking if all black men, the majority of black men are Democrats over every state, the things the Democratic Party are pushing out there, none of it benefit black men. None of it speaks to black men. So when you talk about identity politics, most black men ain't into that. They're talking about feelings that don't speak to us. So with this new idea that Cory Booker has with the Democratic populace, that's what you said it's called?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it up on the screen for you. The guy's name is Sink Ugar. He's Muslim. And these are the main points that they're trying to target: higher wages, paid family leave, get money out of politics. Because basically, these billionaires can buy elections now. Ban private equity from buying up homes. That's part of the reason why housing prices have skyrocketed. These are populist ideas. These are all things the majority of Americans care about.
I mean, this is stuff that Bernie Sanders talks about all the time. That was a lot of this stuff was his platform, but like nobody cared. Nobody wanted to vote for it. Like,
Well, see, the thing about him was he wasn't of the Democratic Party.
what do you mean by that?
He was a Democrat, but he wasn't of the Democratic Party.
Like the people in the Democratic Party themselves were not
Yeah, they
supporting him. Is
chose
that what you
Hillary. They
mean?
wanted all the funding went to Hillary Clinton, not him.
He wasn't part of the
Mm,
establishment.
Yeah, he just kind of
yeah,
like said Democrat and then just ran, but he wasn't with the DNC.
yeah. But still though, like the fact of the matter is still that like that was his platform, and to your point, the people that needed to support him didn't support him. I mean,
Well,
so is the change now that like there will you guys are I guess assuming or estimating that there will be more support for that kind of mindset
I
due
think
to this
it's very
uprising?
possible. I think it's very possible given the last election. the way the Democrats got bomb rushed like that, I think everybody is seeking ideas like how do we become the party that people like again? How do we restructure our party and our ideals? And this guy, Sink, CENK, don't think that he's like, high on the totem pole and is going to be able to, wield this stuff into existence. It has to be accepted by the Democratic establishment or it just won't work. You know what I'm saying? But I personally think they're good ideas.
Oh, Cinco. Oh, I think I know. I know who this guy is.
Yeah,
Huh.
I think he speaks on the Young Turks
Yeah, yeah.
YouTube
I didn't know
channel.
if we were name dropping this or not. I didn't know if we could, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's on the Young Turks. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's cool, man. I think that's definitely. It would be for me at least. It would be well accepted, man. I would like that. I think we're also gonna have the battle of trying to figure out. Do we want this to be the message moving forward, or do we want repairing what was torn down, all the other establishments that were set in place over the last like 60, 70 years? Is that going to be our platform? Rebuilding that stuff, right? Which does have some merit and could have some weight too for a lot of people out there. So I do think whatever we end up doing needs to be it needs to be focused, and definitely we can't be splitting up the people, man. But two agendas. You pick one agenda, stick with it, and then to pick the next one next time. So, but I like it. I would love paid
And like
family
he
leave.
said, like Cam said, Democrats need to focus on getting out into the streets and getting leg work. They need to stop having brunch in Brooklyn. Remember that?
I just signed a petition, man. I'm with it.
Me too. But what do you think about being a
Let me
Republican?
get the link.
What y'all think about that?
Well,
I, I don't think there's anything wrong with. I don't think there's anything wrong with being Republican because there are a lot of ideas that I do agree with. So it's not. I don't think there's anything wrong with actually being a Republican. I think where the dichotomy comes into play nowadays, at least for me, is what they stand for as a like from a I don't want to say mental thing, but the theme of their party or the zeitgeist that they want to enforce on the society.
Mhm.
That's where I'm at. I
Yeah.
think in layman's terms, to put it simple for me, I feel like the Democratic Party wants to care about everybody. The Republican Party wants you to care about just for yourself, taking care of yourself, your family, and that's all that you need to worry about.
But it gets to a point where it's kind of like, welcome to the Democrat, welcome to the Republican Party. You know what I'm saying? It gets to a point where it just seems like that we carrying people, you know. And,
I'm a,
but
I'm a
go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
And it's not I'm saying I'm gonna switch or nothing like that. It's just like I pretty much agree with the same stuff. Like okay, if you got 5 topics here and 5 of them I don't. I agree with 5 topics with the Democratic Party and then 5 of them I don't. 5 major issues with the Republicans, 5 of them I don't. So I'm really kind of like stuck in the middle. But then it's just kind of like the people over in that Republican Party, those people. It's kind of
Yep,
like, yeah, I don't like
I
them.
can't stand with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I
yep.
And
can't
that's
stand
that's what
beside
I
them.
was gonna say, man. I say, hey, this is a Foul Out podcast. I say things in private, and I'll come on here and say them in public. You know, I got things I agree with Republicans on, but I just it comes to a point where I just can't stand with them. I can't vote with them. If they want me to come to their party, they're gonna have to make some real changes and shifts in how they do things and
Hmm.
the way they carry the party. But otherwise, I can never vote with you, man. Like,
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
might
and
agree
then
with some of the stuff you say,
yeah.
but I
Feel
can't
that.
vote with you, dog.
yeah, and then the Democratic Party, it's people over there that I wouldn't stand with and get out and picking and being the fence with. But those people who I don't mess with on the Democratic side, who I wouldn't be outside picking it with them guys ain't got a history of hating people like me. So they got a clean slate,
Mm,
right?
they get a little
So
more tolerance. I was saying
that's
earlier.
it for me. Yeah. So it's just like, hey, look,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like you do that, like skateboarders, man. I don't skateboard. I don't hang with skateboarders. I ain't got no problem with y'all like that, but I ain't finna be caught out in the street hanging with y'all boys because I see y'all boys, but I don't know y'all
Mm.
boys. You know.
So, let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think, what do y'all, this is a controversial topic, but it's what we're here for. What do y'all think about big business and taxes? Like, okay,
If you
this is
tax them,
a
if you
big
tax them,
Republican
they'll go to
standpoint.
China, and then a lot of Americans ain't got jobs.
But now we're trying to make sure that that's not even like a, we're trying to de-incentivize that or disincentivize them going to China now because of tariffs, right?
Are you talking
So
about the phenomenon where like huge businesses don't really pay taxes like that?
exactly. Do y'all feel like big business does not pay their fair share in taxes, and if they that they should, because it could and would or could, I'll just say that could add more revenue to the government that we're trying to find elsewhere.
It's all about a mindset to me, right? So the idea of capitalism is to capitalize, right? And so it's the have and the have-nots. So the haves are going to do everything they can because everybody, whether you a have or a have-not, you're trying to increase your bottom line, right? So the
Mm,
haves are going to do everything they can based on the system that they're brought up in to say at the end of the day, bro, just because I can give, let's say giving to taxes, why should I? Why should I not take advantage of what I have to maybe pay less percentage wise than I'm supposed to be paying? Where so and so pays more percentage wise than they're possibly supposed to be paying. It's that cat and mouse game. It's that rat race that we take pride in, but it's also our downfall, right? Because of the way we're structured. A lot of the other countries that we went to are structured inversely, where everybody pays super high taxes, but your quality of living is all there. You can do everything you want to do. Like, in Europe, just to put it like in a thing, Shaq, for in a vacuum, sporting events are capped. You can't charge $1,000 for a ticket in Europe because it's capped so that everyone, it's almost like, oh, don't, like we went and saw Real Madrid play and it was like $200 or something like that for a ticket. Real Madrid is basically the equivalent of seeing the Cowboys play. But dude, you can't even get in the rafters for the Cowboys without spending $500, let alone a ticket where you can actually see something. So
mm.
it's the mindset of them is that, hey, you'll never be rich, but everybody will have everything they need to live. And over here, it's look, if you got it, good. If you don't, too bad. Should have had a better lawyer.
Hey, I think I like that one better. I think I like the way how we rock better. I mean,
You
because you
but you
can.
you you don't know any different though. That's the thing. It's like if you grew up in London or you grew up in another country where it was normal
So it
for
ain't rich
you to
people in
have
London.
no. What I'm saying is this: over there, because we're only a country of 200 years old. That country's 2,000 years old, right? Over there, you look at it different because that's all you ever known. If all I've ever known is, dude, I get sick, I go, I get care when I can. We ain't never got a bill in the mail. Or all I've ever known is, dude, I want to take the bus, it's free. Or like in Paris, right? Public water is free. You can go wherever and get water. Like, that's just what I know. So if I come to America where everything is a cost, everything is that, it's like, dude, what is this? How do y'all live like this, right? That's the what I think is the big issue.
Dog, I've been
Mm.
to London the same amount of times you have, bro. Man, you every time we was over there, man, you was over there together, slime. And
Yeah, I ain't
when we
talking about
when we
visiting
was
though. I'm talking about
walking,
living.
when we was walking, we seen a lot of boys limping. We seen a lot of boys limping over there, right or wrong. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what it was or what it is about London, but a lot of guys over there, like they got polio or something. A lot of people limp.
I'm gonna
Now,
be
now
honest,
that's that
man.
free health care, my man.
This is one of those things that I'm on the Republican side of things with, because when you really just think about it, bro. All right, let's take Amazon for example. Amazon could pay $1 million in taxes to the United States, or Amazon could um, build a building in downtown Austin and then employ 10 people making $100,000 a year, and that $1 million will create 10 jobs, and those 10 people will have more money to spend on things, so that'll increase tax revenue, right? Those 10 people got to pay taxes because they got a job, right? The trickle down economics. Now this is a really deep subject that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fully versed all the way down to the penny on, but to me that makes sense. If Amazon can save $1 billion and not pay it in taxes and pay that as wages to workers, personally I'm fine with that. And based on the things that I've read, whenever you have huge companies that have resources and all that money like that, they produce extraordinary things. I could pick up my phone, order some on Amazon, and it could be here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. If Amazon wasn't the size and scale that it is today, you think that would be possible? No, it's possible because they generate all that money. They reinvest that money into people. Those people create technology, create innovation. And that's what drives the American economy. That's what I personally
Kind of like
believe.
when they say everybody benefits from an educated society. If everybody in society is educated, the more people that's educated in the society, then more people, you know, it just makes it better. The doctors are better. The garbage men are better. You know, everything. And I just want to say, Warriors lost. We going to Game 7.
The Warriors lost.
Yeah, they got
Oh dang!
smoked. They got
I didn't know
smoked too.
I didn't know it was already over. It
My
is
thing
9
for
o'clock.
you, what you were just talking about, Anthony, this right here though. This is my issue with some of these companies. I always say some because not all do it. Their
Yes,
leadership
yes,
seems
Willie,
to
yes.
pander. Like when Trump became president, all these dudes who so powerful, so strong, so wealthy, they pandered their behinds off. They were doing all sorts of stuff. They was like prostituting themselves to this man. And I'm sitting here looking at these boys thinking, y'all supposed to be, like you said, the innovators, the world changers. And y'all are groveling like they were 100%. Them boys ain't never show up for Obama's inauguration. They ain't never show up for Bush inauguration. They ain't never show up for Biden inauguration. But this second time at Trump, oh, we all in them. Oh, we had a great talk with the president. Oh, we do all of this. And we're going to roll back XYZ. You know, we got all these HBCU funds that were donations from these companies. We're going to X all of that. So I get it. I love a business mindset. But at the end of the day, bro, I'm not a machine. I don't think y'all are machines. I think we're humans. Whether it's capitalism, whether it's whatever, we're humans first. And so for you to be able to just look at people like that as basically indiscretionary, indispensable. Like people are just nothing more than cannon fodder. Personally, me speaking just for Willie, I don't get that. And I can't get with that and I can't
Mm.
support that. Because that's how they've been treating my people for the longest of times. And I really I don't know. I'm not gonna look. I've been told I get on the soapbox, so I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead and let y'all,
Get
pick
on
up.
the soapbox, bro.
No,
I ain't.
no, you good,
I'm
bro.
never gonna clip
That's
you
what it's
again,
for.
bro, and you know why. But look, man, you talk about cannon fodder. In America right now, you cannon fodder if you want to be. And what I mean by that is, if you're a black man, you know the disadvantages you have. If you're a poor white boy from Vicksburg, Mississippi, you know the disadvantages you have. You can't use those as an excuse, because those excuses gonna land you right back where you been at. Okay, so you gotta find solutions to your disadvantages. That's how it gotta be. If you can't find a solution to your disadvantage, then you're gonna end up right back where you at, wishing that you did. Because look, a lot of people's answers is right in front of their face. They just don't want to take that route. I know a lot of people like that. And a lot of y'all have messed up so bad that it seemed like it'll be forever and then another day before you can get out of your situation. But remember, you put yourself in a situation. So if you did all that, you can get yourself out.
All right, so all I gotta say to that, Arkeem, is that you are a Republican.
I ain't no
Anthony,
Republican, man.
you are a Republican. You
I
and
ain't no
Ronald Reagan would have been
Republican.
really cool, but no,
Nah.
Anthony,
It's I don't want to get on my soapbox, but see, that's the problem right there.
was
See,
that?
recent politics tells people you have to agree totally with this side or you got to agree totally with that side. But to me, that sounds like brainwashing. That don't sound like a free thinking person. You know what I'm saying? If
So you
you
think I'm
agree with
brainwashed, or I'm brainwashed because
you
I
don't
said what
you
I
don't
said?
you don't agree totally with one side though,
Yeah.
right?
No,
Yeah,
no. I
act
mean, yeah,
like you
true. I
don't.
know.
But
Yeah.
but Shaq, back to the original point, bro. What do you mean? Like that's what it is. If you get yourself in a hole, it's it's your job to get yourself out. You can't
That's
just
true,
sit
but
back if you know
that's
your
true. I get that.
disadvantages.
I get that. I get that. But the original prompt though was like, do we think that companies should be paying their fair share in taxes, or do we think the way that they get around that
Great
is
question, by the way.
is okay, right? And I think that I do want to answer. I want to answer what you said too, Anthony. And Arkeem, I agree with you. You should pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
I
But
ain't even say that.
they got to. That's basically what you said, man. But Anthony though, like I want to go back to that too. The idea of trickle down economics is great, right? In theory, if you actually truly believe that people are operating with integrity, right? Trickle down economics is based off of the hope and the promise that like you make us a bunch of money and we're gonna give it back to you. That's not happening. Like to your point, this company could pay $1 million in taxes, but they said they go buy a building downtown and then they employ a bunch of people that are making money off of this thing. That's great, right?
Mhm.
But what's actually happening is that these companies, they might buy a building maybe every now and then, right? But like most of the time, they're spending this money towards paying back their shareholders, which most time the owners want them shareholders, so they're getting a nice chunk of that change too. But that money is going back to shareholders, not necessarily going back to being reinvested into their employees, not necessarily going back to giving their employees more than 2.5% raises or 3% raises. But let's say they do decide to reinvest some of this money into the 3% raises, right? but and then they give the rest of the money to their shareholders, right? And they don't pay their taxes. That's great. Cool. I'm employing people, but I also, me and all the rest of the CEOs in the world just raise all our prices 10%. Right? Just because. This is not even because of tariffs, but just because we
So,
want to make
Shaq,
more money.
you saying that trickle down economics is basically just the American factory industrial system that crashed all over the U.S. because it's almost like, we got a company like Boeing that got bailed out $50 billion in U.S. tax money, but Boeing hasn't reaped the profit in the last 40 years, and the CEO make $50 million a year.
It's a
So what
grift.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a
then he,
grift
then
right
he gave himself a raise.
there.
Then he gave himself a
gave
raise.
himself a
Willie, you saw
raise
that?
and went
Well,
to the
that
U.S. government with Biden, with President Biden said, President Biden, bro, you gotta bail us out because the America needs Boeing. Oh,
yeah. That's
okay.
the bad part of it, but the good part of it is Meta is building a $10 billion AI data center in northern Louisiana. Now, what does that mean? That means that the people that lay the concrete for the foundation, that's a company that's getting paid, paying workers. The people that's installing the servers, that's a company
The truckers
installing them
bringing the
servers.
stuff there.
Exactly. Like that entire economy is about to just have a
That's
robust
true.
injection of dollars, man. And if
True.
Meta wasn't the size that it is, if Meta paid more taxes, you think they'd just be able to drop 10 billion and just make that entire economy thrive for how long it
You're
takes?
right. You're right. But like you're naming companies that are showing proof that they're doing something with this money. There's a bunch of more companies outside of Google and Meta and Amazon that we can't see the proof that they're doing stuff with that money besides giving it to their stockholders. Right. So those are the people that I'm curious about. But also let's say Facebook's doing this year. Let's say the next 2 3 years, we don't see them doing that kind of thing, but they're still not paying their taxes.
Bro, I
I,
heard
I, I
I
got the
heard
mindset of
I
arcade.
read that Meta is about to build the largest internet cable line that spans like the entire Atlantic Ocean to bring internet to Africa and the rest of the world. Like, bro, I mean, I'm sorry, like capitalism, it's got some flaws, but capitalism really is one of the biggest drivers of prosperity in the world, man.
What you gonna say,
Y-
Willie?
I was gonna say I was gonna use your logic with the taxes, with the investing into the country and all that. And, we talk like Shaq was saying, the taxes they evade. I'm gonna use your logic. They figure it out. I think they could pay the taxes they owe and figure out how to do everything else Anthony was just talking about. If them
That's
Negroes
fair.
that
That's
smart,
fair.
if them
That is
Negroes
fair.
that smart, they can figure out how to do it.
That's fair, but the subject that nobody really want to talk about is, I mean, give it to the government for what? You know, they done had all this money of all these years. Now we almost 40 trillion in debt.
And,
Well, anyway,
and
that's
talking like that. That's how you go get this pod shut
uh,
down. You gonna
But
get a
but but
file
hear me
out
out.
Rico talking just
But
like
hear me
that.
out though.
I'm
The
just saying,
government, and this is the part people don't like talking about the government. And I can give you this perspective from the government. The government don't offer contracts to itself. It offers contracts to Meta, to Microsoft, to Amazon, to who's NASA's number one space partner, SpaceX.
Small
So
businesses too.
it's a circle jerk. So it ain't just like when people point at the big government. My guy, I say point at yourself. Why you think the government is the way it is? You know what's so crazy? Half the time the government try to do shit at the lowest technic. We do it at the lowest
Mm,
LPTA, lowest technically acceptable. So we just
mm.
want somebody who can do the job. We don't even drive a profit. like that Pete Buttigieg conversation he had with Schultz. So he was talking about, dude, at the end of the day, you know why the internet exists, right? The government did a program, made no money, but gave grants and donations, and it helped create the internet. Half the time, the government operating in the red. So I think these private companies, they can bear more than what they are bearing. Like when they released President Trump's taxes, the reason why he don't want them taxes to come out, because he don't want to show you that, hey, dude, I'm doing the bare minimum, while a lot of y'all boys playing the bare maximum. So that's the
Hey,
issue.
bro, that's a part of the game, though. You gotta
Exactly.
learn the game. Look, you got to learn the game, man.
Exactly. But it's something to be said, right? Where you take advantage of people who don't have an option, right? But you are like, huh? But to hear me out though, for as many people who are like that, there are other people who like, you know what, dude? I'll bear it. I'll bear the weight of having to pay the full taxes or whatever they ask me to pay because I can bear it, right? That's the way it's supposed to
Hmm.
set up. That's why this podcast is the way it is. Because not everybody can be Shaq, Willie, Anthony, and Arkeem. What's the greatest quote in fiction history? With great power comes great responsibility. Uncle Ben hit it right on the head, bro. No matter how you want to do it, those that have, we have a responsibility, whether we want it or not, right? You think if I could have picked to be
Hmm.
born black in Mississippi, that's what I would have went with? No, G. No, I got tossed in
Hey,
this
this
thing
man
just like
tripping
everybody
now.
else.
This
So,
fool done trip.
so we, so you know what I'm
I
saying?
love who
I
I
feel
am.
like
Wouldn't
we
change nothing
gotta,
about it.
I feel like, bro, we owe it to ourselves to do the stuff that ain't the cleanest work, right? And I feel like Meta, Facebook, Amazon, even the ones that we haven't named, bro. Like President Trump told that guy when he did the whole, oh, buy now, and he said, well, I made that guy $2 billion. Like that
Yeah.
type of just
I mean,
freelance. I mean, that's
who would you rather be a stewardess of? Let's call it potential tax money. Ted Cruz or Mark Zuckerberg? You know, Jeff Bezos or Major Taylor Green
would I rather be a what? I'm sorry.
to be a steward of potential tax dollars. I'd rather Bezos.
Okay, then would you rather? Well, you picked Bezos
Anthony,
and
Jamie
you're a
Dimon,
and took
Jamie
some of
Republican.
those.
Dimon,
Welcome to the
Huh?
Jamie
Republican
Dimon or
Party,
Joe
Anthony.
Biden, bro.
Jamie Dimon
Jamie
or Joe
Dimon or
Biden?
Joe Biden, man. Come on, dog.
Well, how about this? Would you rather be a tax steward for? Let's look at it, what it's really affecting, right? Because those are just representatives. But let's say, would you rather be a tax steward for Meta or Forest, Mississippi? Meta or a town of impoverished black people who it ain't because they, just
I'm gonna
stupid,
choose Meta
inadequate.
every time.
That's what I'm
And the
saying.
reason why is because we know what happens whenever those dollars make it to that impoverished black town. They not gonna even make it to the people in need. So
Why
yeah,
aren't
I
they?
still would rather Meta have the
What
money.
so now hold on now we working with something now. So why don't they make it to the people that they need?
Corruption.
Okay, and how do you stop corruption?
Um, if there was a foolproof plan, we would have implemented it.
I understand that, but how do you
Willie,
stop corruption? Right?
I don't know that one,
You
bro.
gotta. What's Arkeem say? Arkeem, what you say you looking forward to do?
I don't know.
I don't know what you talking.
What I'm saying is, Arkeem said that he wants to run for political office. Well, the
Oh
thing
yeah.
is, how do you stop a corrupt system? How do you beat a corrupt mayor? You become the mayor, right? So the
You
way
gonna
you
get me
beat the
killed.
system, the way you beat the system is you become the system. Everybody complains about how, oh, this is corrupt, or I don't want to donate here and I don't want to donate there. Well, what do you think it is to fix it?
For the longest time, black people couldn't even eat in a restaurant. Then somebody said, you know what? I think I want to eat in a restaurant one day. So how do I do this? And from that point on, that little small mindset, that little small failing thought led to the civil rights movement, led for us to have this conversation today. That's why I said at some point somebody got to start something, right? Corruption just didn't appear. Somebody came in that was corrupt and said, I'm finna mess this stuff up. So
I
I
feel
just
you on that, Willie, because I feel like a thought that I had. I know we've been on this topic for a while, y'all, now, but like I feel what you're saying, Willie, because I've always had this mindset that I feel like the wrong people got super rich.
No, they didn't.
I,
It's the guys who
in-
tried. It's the guys who did risk analysis and what they can land. It
it's
goes back to
true.
what I was saying from the beginning. People don't just pop up and say, "Oh, goddamn, well, where'd it come from?" No, bro, it was a plan.
No, that's
Yeah,
I
exactly.
hear
And I
you.
want to
I
say
hear
this.
you,
Let
but,
me say this one thing, Shaq.
okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
Yeah, the people that somebody like Jamie Dimon, he decided I want to go into finance and cut my teeth there. Somebody like Joe Biden said I'm gonna go to politics. Now, who is the more talented of the two? You know what I'm saying? Go
I'm
ahead.
assuming the argument you're making is Jamie Dimon. I mean, Diamond is the more talented because he built the business that he built, right? Multiple business that he built. So I get that, I hear that, but what I'm saying is I will say a couple things. I feel like the wrong people got rich because the people that are rich, and not all of them, but the people that are rich could do more. They could do more for the world. And I know the argument can be like, well, Meta's sending cables over to Africa to get them internet. They're doing something. But man, there's so much more that could be done in the world. Like there's so much more. And you said before, Anthony, that capitalism was what was seen the most or fueled innovation the most. Capitalism does that. And I kind of think differently for the same reason why I said the wrong people got rich. I think capitalism puts people into this bottleneck of we want to get good at creating this one thing really good because people want it. And we need to figure out how to make this one thing more efficient. And then also let's try to make this one thing a little bit better than our competitors, right? But when you work think outside of the capitalist lens, you start thinking of like, okay, well then how do we create new things entirely, not just try to make the one thing that we know that everybody is buying, but how do we truly innovate and create something entirely different? And I think because capitalism forces people to steer their efforts towards one thing, you lose true innovation. Not to say there aren't people out there doing it, because there definitely are people doing it. There's a lot of companies out there creating stuff. OpenAI was an innovative idea, right? But
A
like,
wise man once said, "Keep the main thing the main thing." But I don't want to stay on this topic forever, y'all.
Hold up, let me say something.
we need to talk about
Shaq,
that one day.
Yeah, we gotta dig deeper into that.
Shaq, this
Yeah.
how it is. The hunters are gonna always be the guys who come back with the food. I was gonna say meat, but y'all was gonna pause me. But that's who always gonna come back with it. The dudes who going out in the woods. The
Hmm.
guys who sitting at home waiting for them to bring the food back, they ain't gonna never come home with the bacon. So that's how it is. It ain't no the wrong people got rich. The people who tried are the ones who got rich. The people who thought and made an analysis are the people who got rich. So those are the guys who get to choose to shape society and make the rules. So they choose the trickle down theory because it best benefit them. The winners make the rules, the winners tell the story. You ever heard that? You know,
Arkeem, do you
so
realize that like, but like I get what you're saying. Like I don't want to. I'm not negating the fact that people that work hard, they pull themselves by their bootstraps. that they
I will
didn't
never use
earn what
that
they
term.
but the people I'm not negating the fact that they put in work into to get to where they're at. Like I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we as a species are very inefficient. We have created a way for us to we have yeah, literally created this made up thing of value, which is our money, right? We've created a value for someone to do something. You do this for me, I give you this, right? Why do we not have more billionaires out there focusing efforts on, you know what, this cancer thing has been around for a very long time. Let's put all of our resources towards this and let's just figure this out. Why are we not doing that, right? And like you can say, like, well, why do I have to give them the money for it? Well, like I said, as a species, we are very inefficient. If we really truly
Why
were
don't
were, were as
you help?
evolved as we are, we would figure that out.
Why don't
We
you
would.
help the poor kids in Romania and Africa? You got the money to. You can get them $25, $30, and make his whole week. Why don't you do it?
Who, me?
Yeah,
How do you know I don't do that?
because most people don't.
So, how you know I don't do that? But
But do you
I
do?
get
Okay,
what you're
do you
saying.
do it?
Okay, guys, we gotta wrap this topic.
We'll
All
come
right,
back to it. We'll come back to it. But
all
I do help when I do help whenever I can help our team and wherever I can help.
write
Hopefully it
that
ain't
topic.
Romania.
Write that topic down, and
Hopefully
we'll
it's right in
we'll be sure to
Texas,
jump
wherever you
into it.
live.
But final topic of the night. I just want to talk about the impacts of
sinners.
Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan centers crossing the $175 million mark in the global box office.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, let's talk about the impact.
Let Willie spiel first. You know he
First of all,
wants to.
no spoilers.
Yeah,
No spoilers.
Okay,
no
no spoilers.
spoilers.
I'm
Okay,
gonna give you a real spiel. The impact of Sinners is so crazy. We just got done talking about what we were talking about because that was the impact of Sinners, right? That's what the impact of Sinners was. What we just got done talking about: the capitalistic machine, the responsibility of man, all that. I don't know if y'all know the background on Sinners, but
Yeah,
Sinners was a movie that was supposed to come out long before it did now, right?
you know it's
Ryan
about
Coogler,
Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson from
Ryan
Mississippi.
Coogler Ryan
Mm,
Coogler made that movie, right? Post Black Panther. Had it ready to go. Because you know Black Panther was a film that he directed. First black
hmm
Marvel director. No, no, no group took it. None of the guys wanted to take it. And you look back at it and you say, "Oh wow, he has this great clause in there that says he owns like basically the responsibility of it for the next 20 years or something like that, or rights or whatever."
Yeah.
But you know why they put that clause in there, right? Because they
Why?
thought it was gonna fail. No movie production theater is ever gonna put that in there in a movie that they expect success out of, right? If I'm doing Avengers, I'm not finna give the Russo brothers the rights to Avengers for the next 20 years. That's insane. That movie's gonna do great. But this movie, they said, "Hey, bro, you gonna bear the weight of it." That's why his media company is doing so, had a lot of the bulk of it, right? But that just
mm,
shows you that even the best and the brightest, right? Because it's hard to name another bigger director, black director, right now in 2025 than Ryan Coogler. He got a raw deal. It worked out. It worked out. But he got a raw deal. And so I'm just so excited. I think everybody needs to see it. Not spoiling anything, but it does speak a lot. It's very unapologetically black at times. But before it crosses that line to like a Nate Parker territory, it kind of delves back into the fantasy of the movie. But it does speak on. Oh
mm.
man, it's one story in there that he talks about that's very powerful about what happens when a black man get a little bit of money and what that turns into. And see, I don't want to revert back to what we were just talking about, but all of this kind of just folds itself into the same thing. Watch Sinners. It's a great film, very original film. And shout out to Ryan Coogler because you bet it on yourself when no one else would. And you the best of us, Ryan Coogler. You the best of us. Very few black directors who are at that level. And so, good film, great film. Go watch it. Awesome.
Look,
I ain't
man.
gonna get too hard into it.
Look, man. But see, I'm glad he did that because he knows what he's up against. He knows. Look, let me give y'all a perfect example. I was just at the fair in San Antonio, right? And this is, I give a story every pod. I was at the fair in San Antonio. And the basketball thing, the rim is bent like an oval, like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what I did was I had Keelan with me. I dribbled the ball. I shot it, missed. Shot it, missed. But see, that third time, the dude turned his back and looked at somebody else. I shot it, I missed, but I said, yeah. And he looked at me, he said, what? I said, I made it. What you mean? And then he was like, who saw it? I said, I don't know, but I made it. You better give it. I knew. And I said, Keelan, go get you a big bear. He got one of them bears. We got it right now. See, it's because I know what I'm up against. And when I saw him turn his back, I said, oh, I got something for you, player. I got something for you. Hey, at the end of the day, I got the bear. Well, Keelan got the bear. Okay? Right? That's how you got to play it. Whatever you know your risk. Okay? Ryan Coogler knows how you got to play the game. They're not going to just give you no fair shake. But if you ain't going to if you show me your behind, I'm going to show you my foot. And that's where I come from.
That's some questionable lessons in that story, but I get your
Yeah, but I
drift.
mean, yeah, big shout out to Ryan Coogler. They say this is like one of the like most successful original screenplays in a long time. Because a lot of these movies that do well, they aren't original, and this is one that just came like Ryan Coogler was sitting in a room, and this just came straight from his mind. So big shout out to him for that.
Hmm.
I think they said it's gonna be like it's on track to become like the fourth horror film of all time to do 200 million domestically. Um, he will gain ownership after 25 years. That was a big thing. And then he's also
A
sharing
long
in the
time.
revenue. He's also sharing in the revenue before the studio even recoups. So a lot of people are like
They
kind
mad
of
at him
just
about that.
yeah, they gassed at the fact that he got this deal, and people are saying, a lot of people didn't want it to succeed, obviously, because they think that this deal might blow open the movie industry. But they actually tried to grill Ryan on it, and Ryan he was really saying something without saying it, and y'all know what I'm talking about. But he said, I'm not the first person to ever get this deal, and I don't really understand why people making such a big deal out of it. Really, what he was saying is they making a big deal out of it because y'all fill in the blank.
Because he's successful. See, if it would have flopped, that was stupid. Why'd you do that? See, they love to
Mm-hmm.
rep on you when you mess up. They
Mm-hmm.
love to rep on you. A lot of people were banking on him to fail.
Yeah.
That's all it was, just banking on him to fail. Just say,
Yeah,
see, they don't
this
like your
is really
films. You
important.
don't have it. Yeah. But like I
Mm-hmm.
said, man, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. All right. So,
So yeah, man, big
Oh
shout out to
man,
Ryan Coog. Now I will say,
this is your future mayor, guys.
I
Your future.
I will say that I saw this movie critic says like commented on Sinners, and they
Yeah.
said I love the movie, but I do wonder what happened. Like what it would have been like if it didn't take a turn for the worse. And I think about that a lot. I don't want to spoil anything for y'all, but I just want y'all to know in the first half of Sinners,
Oh man, I
you
can't hear
might
this.
it might have been
Mute him.
the greatest day ever.
Hey, so
It
is
might
it
have
like?
been the
Wait a minute.
greatest
So
day
so
ever.
Oh, you seen the movie? I thought none of
Yeah,
y'all
I
seen
seen it.
it.
is it
Oh,
Yeah, I saw it
scary?
first weekend it came
No,
out.
is it like scary? Like, well, I
No,
can't
no,
watch it
it's
by
not scary at
myself.
it's
all.
not. It's not true horror. It's more like a thriller.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
gothic
Yeah,
horror. It's like Blade. You think Blade's scary?
Never seen it.
You never seen
yeah,
Blade?
Lord have
bro.
mercy.
But it
Oh.
spectacular movie.
Do we stop
Big
the
shout out to
recording?
Ryan. Now, no, it's still running.
That's
Mm-hmm.
weird.
Go see it.
But
It's a stop for a second.
one last question for y'all. So this is a big move by Ryan. Is he creeping up on on Jordan Peele cachet, or do you think he's already surpassed Jordan Peele?
For what?
Oh yeah, he
I think
passed him.
they're in two
As
different
far as like
worlds, man.
if Jordan Peele was releasing a new movie and Coog was releasing a movie same day, which one are you going to see first?
It
Peel. No doubt about it.
depends. It
Dude,
depends, man.
we can't even compare, make that comparison, bro. Because Jordan got, I mean, Ron Coog got caught up. Coog is great. Let me hear me out. Coog is great. But I don't think he gets this movie without Black Panther. Every single Jordan Peele movie has been an original. Like, you talk about this being an original, every single, even him, that's coming out in September, original, The Mind of Jordan Peele, Monkey Pop, like, that's him. I
Mm.
think Coog is great. Creed, not original, right? Creed's just a spinoff of Rocky. Black Panther was what it was.
What about
Fruitvale was
Fruitvale
original.
Station?
It is. But every single Peele film is an original. I think they're equally all great. I don't think they're creeping up on each other. Cause like Shaq said, they're in two different lanes. Um, like Peele is strictly horror, and Coog is just floating. Right?
Yeah.
Coog's more Spielberg. Peele's more what's it called?
M. Night Shyamalan.
I'm not gonna
Um,
lie. See, Willie, you make a good point, but sort of what I'm talking about more so is like their original screenplays. So you compare Sinners is the only thing that Coog would have in this category. But if you compare that to Nope, you know, Sinners was better than Nope. You know what I'm saying? So if you looking at like
But
we say, what have you done for me lately?
hold
It's like
on,
I
you
don't
think
know,
hold
man. I might
on.
have to go see Coog's film.
But you just said, but what you just said is very important though, because you only called out one of Jordan Peele's movies that was I. You
It's his
said Ryan
latest.
Coogler only has one that we can really compare
I ain't gonna
against
lie,
Jordan
y'all.
Peele's what three or four?
Yeah, like
It's
Jay
four
Z.
with him.
Let's see, Get Out, Us. Nope, I
Nope,
think that's three.
and then
With
him
him will be
before.
four.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So like the
like
first
Jay Z
two,
said, Sinners is the one that it took Jordan Peele. I mean, Coog his whole life to make. So you right. We gotta see what his sophomore looks like.
Hey, I would
But
say this,
man,
bro.
Sinners versus Nope. I got Sinners
I got
easy,
Nope.
man.
That's crazy. Nope is my favorite Peele film. Nope got
All
so
right.
many layers to it.
When you two see Sinners, we gonna come back and compare the two.
And watch Nope again. Dude, Nope is awesome. I love
I
Nope.
might need to watch it again.
I'll watch
Now
him.
Us, okay, but Nope, she.
You know what I'm saying? Like you saw how I don't know if y'all caught it, but like when my AC cut on and the door is like halfway cracked, it'll like pull it in, the suction, it'll pull the
Yeah.
door too. So I can't be watching stuff like that. If I turn back and jump like that, you know what I'm saying? I get the reaching for my waist,
Nah, dude. Sinners ain't scary at all, dude. I would say if you like a horror factor, I would say 0 or 0.5 out of 10. It's not really scary at all.
it's just
Yeah.
spooky.
Do you remember? Do you remember how Get Out had some pseudo horror like in it? It's like that
Yeah.
level
Yeah,
of
Get Out had me reaching for my waist. But I mean,
like.
it's all good.
Do you remember on that Atlanta episode where the two dudes were in the boat and then the dude turned his face and turned back and said, you'll float too or something, and like
Man.
it was like it's like that level of hard, you know.
So you got to go to the
But
movie theater to see it, or can you see it?
Sinners, yeah, it's in theaters,
Y'all
man.
better
you
watch.
see
Y'all
it.
better support that man. And watch it on theaters. You gotta
Well, I
watch
would
it in
say I'm
theaters
gonna
right
buy
now.
it no matter what. I'm gonna have to buy it. I was just wondering, could you buy it at the house?
So the
I
thing
don't think
is,
so.
that
You
movie
sound
is
scared,
built by
Arky.
IMAX.
You don't want to go
That
into the
movie
dark
is built
theater.
by IMAX. So,
Yeah,
They got
Hey,
lights in the
look,
but
theaters though. You'll be all right.
Shaq. The way I be moving, no vampires, no maniacs. I ain't worried about them. I'm a ways
It's,
reach away. But I'm just
I
thinking.
will say, I will say this though: Sinners is not a family movie. What caught me off guard was the graphicness of the conversations that were being had. A lot more than just the
I got a
graphicness of.
mouthful of food.
yeah,
Oh man.
This
But
ain't
yeah,
gonna
man.
I
swallow.
I'll
feel
take
so
that charge
short, but
though.
this is the longest one ever.
yeah. It's been a great pod. Been a great pod, man.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, but I'll watch I'm gonna try to watch it this weekend, man. Sinners.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch
And
it
I'll
this
see if
weekend
I can
too. I'm
fit
gonna
Nope.
see what's up.
Okay,
And then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. What was the other
yeah, give it
thing?
like a review.
Nope.
Nope. Yeah. Okay. Is Nope scary?
No,
What
Not
is
as
Mm-mm.
scary as Sinners.
what is it about? Like, is it like classified as horror?
no, it's more about like
It's
aliens.
like suspense.
Oh
It's,
man,
Boy, ain't that bad,
that boy
Arcane.
Peter fell off. Dang.
Nah, he didn't
Hell
fall
no.
I
I
off.
saw
love Nope.
Kiki. I saw Kiki Palmer, and I was like, "Yo, thought he was better than
Nah,
that."
Nah,
she
dude.
got a
She's
good role
honestly
in there.
probably the best part of the whole movie.
Oh,
She's
for real?
great in this movie. She's
She got a
great in
good
this
role.
movie.
and Kiki Palmer, you doing her dirty, man. That's a whole nother topic. Kiki Palmer is a she's
She's a
a
staple in the
legend,
community.
kind of. I don't want to say
I
a
just realized
legend,
this too. You
but
realize this too, Anthony. Both movies about siblings.
Hmm.
Didn't really
Fair,
think,
fair.
didn't really think
I
about that. But I
wanna
thought about Nope.
I wanna ask Ian which one he thought was better.
Oh, he gonna say
But
Nope.
yeah, I remember he loved Note, but we gonna see. But yeah, guys, any final
We might
remarks?
need. You think we can get him on the pod, bro? Think we can book him for the Nope conversation?
Yeah, maybe we could. Maybe we
Mm-hmm.
could.
What
But
y'all
yeah,
think?
any final thoughts, man?
I'm gonna catch you this time. All right, y'all ready?
What?
I always miss it, but I'm ready now.
Arkeem's final thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, there ain't
Yeah,
no
well,
final thought.
appreciate y'all for joining, man. It's been a great pod, great conversations being had. We got 5 fouls, and we about to foul out. Peace.
Peace.
Mm.